I'm thinking that our human minds have become are significantly more advanced than any other life form. From what I understand, ducks didn't build London, and goats didn't build airplanes. And there's all kinds of things that our minds are capable of doing that can't be done by any other creature. I think as our human minds became more advanced, mind of another creature, let's say a goat, has to be monitoring what's going on and regulating all the things that are going on internally, circulation, respiration, digestion. And as our mind became much more advanced, um, it couldn't stop doing that stuff that's required for survival internally. And so the way I understand what happened is this much more advanced component was then created, but uh, not integrated fully into the more basic component. And I think that's why it is that we hear folks referencing these two facets of mind as we're talking to each other. So certainly most of you and most of the people you know are familiar with words like conscious, unconscious, subconscious. But although we understand what those words are and have a sense as to what they're referring to, I think there are words that people use much, much more frequently when referring to what's going on internally, where we are not one integrated mind. And I'm finding that people are referring to the more advanced component of mind using the word I, using the word I. And then they refer to all the rest, which is the facets of mind that are not as advanced, using the word self. And hence, you hear people say things like, I need to get myself started. I need to keep myself going. I've gone into therapy because I want to be able to understand myself. But my therapist pointed out to me, she said that she was afraid that it sounded like I didn't like myself. I assured her that I certainly didn't like myself and that actually I hated myself. And she told me that that would never do. And how was I ever supposed to even think about getting better if I was hating my own self? And I said, what can I do about it? And she said, well, you need to start loving yourself. And it was pretty hard to figure out how I was supposed to love something I hated. Um, anyway, I don't think these things go on in the minds of other creatures. In other words, if a crow is on a branch and has a sense he'd like to be, on a different tree, I bet you the crow isn't thinking, well, I'd like to get myself over to that other tree. And so I better start to get myself motivated. And that way I'll be able to perhaps get myself started. And then after I leave this branch, I sure hope I can keep myself going. Um, I don't think so. I think if a crow wants to be on another branch, he's not trying to get himself to do it. He's just doing it. And what I'm finding is that these different facets of mind, the one we refer to using the word I, and the other one we refer to using the word self, see the world very differently and don't really know what to make of each other. Um, and there's a significant communication problem that seems to be going on between this thing we call I and the thing we call self, because they really speak a different language, but not, you know, if you meet somebody who speaks a very different language, like if you speak French and she speaks Chinese, and she knows that she doesn't know French, and you know that you don't know Chinese, you know that you're not understanding each other, and you don't expect to. But I think that this thing we call I and the thing we call self are understanding things differently, but the language is close enough that it seems like there's understanding when there isn't. Like imagine you have a friend or you meet someone and he seems to be speaking the same language you are, let's say English. But there are just a couple of differences, like in the language that he speaks, um, the word intelligence means stupid, and the word beautiful means ugly. And so you say to your friend, I really like spending time with you because you're so intelligent and so beautiful. And she heard you say, you're so stupid and so ugly, and all kinds of stuff ends up going wrong, and hence we have all this hating oneself stuff. But I also think people get really sidetracked in trying to get their minds clear and move forward with things and end up uh, attempting to do things that really aren't needed to do in order to become successful. And one of the things I find people are spending a lot of time trying to do is trying to forgive themselves. Can you imagine a duck spending its day trying to forgive itself? They seem to have pretty good lives without bothering to do that. And so I think what we like to do is find more clear and direct paths toward doing what will create a satisfaction